Moving right on over into Whirlwind.
All right, so here we go in the bottom left corner from Team Mouse Sports. It's MaNa. And in the bottom right corner we have from Team Empire, it's Beasty. And I think these guys are starting to realize that they can actually play on the EU. This was played on the NA server. Because usually the discrepancy is if they're in different servers and they play NA, right? If one's Korea, one's in EU. But if they're on the same server, they usually can play on the same server. If they're both in Korea, they can play in Korea. If they're both in EU, they can play in EU, vice versa.
Yes, they actually can play on EU. Something that we've sort of changed here this season in the North American Star League. In Season 3, we tried to run as close to 100% of our matches live as was possible, and we worked out okay. We had some success stories with it, but we always hated it when we had to ask players to play at uncomfortable times, when we had to ask players to play with latency on unfamiliar servers. So in Season 4, as often as possible, we tried to say, okay, if you're two European guys, play on the Europe server and then send us the replays. We can do it that way. And I think, in general, most players have enjoyed having that luxury, even if some of them, in the case of Beasty, haven't realized they can take advantage of it yet.
Yeah, I think, well, Beasty says he has gotten used to the lag. Beasty did spend some time in California, like you said, Ben, and he's very underrated by the community. But at the same time, Beasty has his own challenges he needs to overcome to kind of like launch himself in the upper echelons of European players, primarily performing at LAN events. Beasty is going gas before barracks. This is the first time we've seen this in Terran vs Protoss all night. We've had a few, and I think this is a really nice way to just mix it up a little bit. Whirlwind's a pretty big map. Hellions are awesome if you choose to go for Hellions, but at the same time so are Banshees, just because of how they're able to poke into the main base, really. MaNa is really good PvT, though. That's probably one of the biggest things to worth note. MaNa has an incredible win rate, over 60% against foreigners in Protoss vs Terran.
Yeah, Dan, just to kind of come back to something you were talking about Beasty and what he needs to propel himself into the upper echelons of the European scene. I have always seen in him the talent and the ability to be the best or one of the top 3 Terran players in Europe. But just to kind of build on what you were saying, he's lacked in one thing and one thing only, and that's offline results. He's always very good online. He's one of the go-to guys for Empire in their clan wars, and he has won games against some of the best Koreans on the planet. But offline, for whatever reason, he seems to sometimes struggle, and I do think it boils down to his mental state. Beasty's a guy that when he decides that he doesn't want to play anymore, when he decides that I'm behind, I'm too disadvantaged, I don't like this computer that I'm playing on, I don't like this desk or this chair or the temperature in the room, it can just really tilt him. Like it sounds a little silly, but he's not a player that I think is at his best outside of his comfort zone. But I think online he is absolutely excellent.
It's so funny because you compare him with a person like Stefano who lost his luggage, had to use someone else's keyboard, had to, play on like literally just from the airport. He flew and landed, so in the worst conditions possible. Everything went right for everyone else, and yet Stefano still won WCS Europe. It was quite amazing to see a player be able to adapt to situations like that.
I think you can summarize that entire story in one simple point, and that's mental strength wins championships. And I think Stefano has a mental strength about him, a sort of mentality when it comes to StarCraft 2 that is pretty much unrivaled, and or certainly amongst the foreigners. Beasty is going to go do a little bit of harassing with his initial Hellions. We have not seen a Banshee being built. In fact, it's going to be a medevac, so it's going to be some Hellion drop.
Yes. By the way, Ben, just for clarification, this is the only series that you and I disagreed on in predictions, as you picked Beasty and I picked MaNa.
I feel like you're going out of your way to specify who you chose to win tonight.
Yes, because I want there to be justice for once, man. Because I have this. I mean, I liked Beasty a lot, and just like you said, I admire his play. But I know MaNa's gonna win tonight. I just have this feeling, and I want to say it that he is, and that way, the Gravis people can't troll me. I'm done. I'm sick with it, Ben.
I will enjoy being right more than you 3 times in a row.
Oh. Why do you even do this to me, Ben? BC is dropping into the main, and MaNa does try to pick
MaNa's
it off.
building placement is superb for this. He is doing an incredible job of deflecting most of his damage, but there are still a lot of Hellions here. Beastie ran through the natural with even more Hellions, and he is going to roast a lot of probes. So MaNa's definitely taking some substantial damage there. 16 workers killed. That takes him down to 19 probes against 27 SCVs. And now the Banshee follow-up is coming. And if we just look at the main base of MaNa, we can see that he has since sort of left. You know, his units are out on the map right now.
Yeah, but he knows that if he goes for that many Hellions, that his base defense is very weak, and he's able to pick off these the Marines. Oh, he's gonna try to target down the Banshees as well. But he's taking a lot of DPS from the Marines, able to pick them off in time. MaNa has 5 Stalkers. This is a very dangerous spot for Beastie, Ben.
Yes, it is. He's going to bring out the SCVs. It kind of all comes down to this. If MaNa can kill this Banshee, he's going to be in great shape. If Beastie can deal with the Stalkers, he's going to be in great shape. If the Banshee goes down, bunkers will complete, but I don't think it's going to master. Beastie taps out, GG gets called, and MaNa takes a very quick game number 1.
Yeah, Beastie just a little bit late on those bunkers. If he can get all the Marines in the double bunker, he would have been fine. There's no real ability to pressure, can defend, especially with the Banshee coming out, can kind of zone out the Zealots. Overall, though, that's just such a delicate thing because he kills so many workers.
Yes, sir. Last game, guys, brought to you by one of our media partners, GameSpot. Head over to GameSpot.com to read about great StarCraft games.
Yep. GameSpot.com/esports for all their interviews. They did a lot for MLG.
Comment on Slasher's articles.
Yes, that's right. Watch him do all his interviews too. He did some nice ones with Flash and Nannywall.
Tell him that you like his hair.
And
Rod
his beard.
Likes it when people compliment his hair.
And his beard.
Does he still have a beard? I feel like he shaved it.
It was like he had like a nice little chin strap going on too. He would fit in with like EG very well.
I see. Well, that's our cue to take a short commercial break. Guys, don't go anywhere. Game number 2, MaNa versus Beastie.
When we return.